This is for you if you are a mother and you would love to create a morning ritual for yourself, but you just don't know where to start anymore because what used to work and what you used to have time for simply doesn't work anymore. Hi, I'm Daniela, and this is episode 1 of Coming Home, where I'm aiming to create a morning-ish ritual for myself in this season of life that I'm in right now, which is early motherhood. So why am I doing this? I'm over 2 years postpartum, and in this time I tried to create a ritual for myself, a daily ritual, again and again. And so I had many failed attempts, and I'm just yearning for a ritual so much right now. And I also want to be an inspiration for the mothers out there that want to have a daily ritual that they can root themselves in, that nourishes themselves, and so they can show up in motherhood, they can show up for themselves and their life. So last Monday, I started a little experiment. Over the course of 3 weeks, I'm going to create a nourishing morning-ish ritual that is going to ground myself, resource myself, and help me to be more present and open to my experience, to my daughter, and to life in general. So before we start looking at week 1, I want to mention one more thing. Why am I creating a ritual versus a routine? Now, I think with a routine, it can almost be done on autopilot. You're creating steps that can be followed one by the other. Whereas a ritual brings a lot more intentionality. You create sacred space and time for it. And you don't need to follow those steps to still have a positive and nourishing impact. So with all of that said, let's look at week 1. So this is day 1 of creating a ritual for the season of life that I'm in right now, which is early motherhood. And for today, I've just finished day 1, and for today I have just kind of looked at the structure of this and what I actually want to do and in what time frame I want to do things in, that I want to create this ritual in. So firstly, I started off with what time ideally do I want to take for a ritual in the morning or morning-ish, meaning first thing in the morning or as soon as I get to it, which might only be once I start work, and then I may have to cut my lunch break slightly. So yeah, 30 minutes is the time I think is ideal for me. It's possible. I'm already building on a structure that I have in place, so a structural change that we have made in our household, in our relationship, where I get the first 30 minutes of my day to myself. Usually right now I use that to go for a walk. So maybe that I would shift and build in the walk later in the day. But I'm also noticing by choosing the walk lately that I've been almost procrastinating or delaying building a proper routine, because every time I've tried it, it seems to fail, or it seems to not. I'll do it a few times and then it doesn't become a sustainable ritual for me. So yeah, this is the time where I really want it to become something that I do not just once or for a week or for a month, but I do, and that supports me consistently, which leads me to the requirements that I have of this morning ritual. So it needs to be deeply nourishing. Now, deeply nourishing isn't really anything that's quantifiable, but I will feel it. I will feel when something is deeply nourishing, rather than it just being like a tick box thing, or I have done this and I can move on with my day. No, I do want it to be something that almost if I don't do it, then I will really feel the effects of it. So yeah, deeply nourishing is one requirement. It needs to be realistic. So this is what I said with the time frame. Like if I say I want to do a morning routine or morning ritual for an hour, that's just totally not realistic for the season of life that I'm in. So it needs to be realistic. So I think tick box already ticked, but maybe it changes, and maybe 30 minutes is too much and 20 minutes is realistic. But so let's see what happens with that. And then finally, it needs to be something that is easy to come back to. So if I miss once or twice, then can I come back to it? Or is the mountain too high to climb? Or are there too much equipment involved, too many things involved for me to start again? So yeah, it needs to be just something that's really easy to come back to. Maybe I need to have some anchor points to help me come back to it. So these are the requirements. So I have to time frame the requirements. And also today, what I came up with are some ideas of things that I want to build in and some things that I want to try and include in this morning ritual. So for me right now, what I want to try over the next few days is nonlinear movement. So I'm a nonlinear movement method teacher, and I haven't really been using this method on a daily basis or on a regular basis for myself. And I really just want to come back to it. So I've been doing it and using it sporadically, but I haven't consistently been using it. And every time I've used it in the past, this is also why I'm a teacher of this method, it is so beneficial and so deeply nourishing that, yeah, I want to come back to it. So that's one. Or another form of somatic movement. I have some other movement methods that I've sort of come across that I may want to try as part of this little experiment. So yeah, a somatic movement practice for sure. I want to include some meditation again. Again, I'm doing meditation as and when I really need it, but it's not right now, or the last 2 years, it hasn't been something that was part of my day-to-day. Yeah, I do it for chunks, I do it for weeks, and then I don't do it again. So it's that similar cycle. But once again, I'm in early motherhood, and things have just been difficult in the sense of taking that time for myself. But it's about time, which is why I'm doing this experiment. Another thing is journaling or some form of writing, free writing, maybe morning pages, although morning pages are free pages. If you use Julia Cameron's morning pages, then maybe free pages are a little bit too much, because it probably takes me half an hour to do that. So let's see how I can build in maybe some writing as well, or maybe it becomes a pick and choose thing. Let's see about that. And then finally, perhaps also some reading or some drawing. Yeah, maybe I'll do some things that I definitely do every day, and then other things I maybe do more on a kind of on a less frequent, and I swap things out sort of basis. And then I maybe also want to try some other things that I haven't yet tried. Maybe some other movement practices or some other things that are not currently on my list. So this is it. And in day two, I'm actually going to try some of these things, and I will let you know how I'm getting on. So see you in day 2. Good morning. This is day 2 of my little experiment to create a morning ritual for myself. Now, interestingly, already the first time of me trying this, it kind of failed. Let me just tell you a little bit about what happened this morning. So my intention was to start my ritual shortly after I wake up. So around 7 to 7:30. I had set aside half an hour. I talked to my partner about it. He was going to take care of our daughter. So I went into my office, closed the door, and I immediately noticed that my daughter was in distress and she just didn't calm down, and I could not concentrate on being in my bubble. Of course I could have put on my headphones, but I just felt I felt so uneasy in my body. I could have not done it. I could have not relaxed into the routine. So I was just sitting with those feelings, all the feelings that came up. I journaled on it a little bit. I couldn't bear more than 5 minutes, and with that I just said to myself, it's not meant to happen right now, and I can carve out time later in the day to start this ritual and to start this little process and experiment. So this is what I did, reunited with her, and which made her obviously very happy, and which made me very happy. And interestingly, already on day 1 or day 2, this is happening, which really shows me again the realities of early motherhood, and it's just very, very difficult to do. So here I am doing this now I started at 11, just after 10:30, and now it's 11. So I delayed it. I had a work call earlier and did a bit of work, and after I said, okay, at 10:30 let me do this, because I do have another call in half an hour. And it felt great to be able to do it now. I did what I said yesterday. I did the nonlinear movement practice for about 25 or 20 minutes. I did a moving what you're feeling, and I also did a release session. So 2 songs, moving what you're feeling, followed by release. I did find it a bit difficult that I didn't have, so I had some music prepared, although I just had to look for it, which took a few seconds. That was okay. The thing that was a little bit tricky was the fact that obviously no one was narrating my experience, no one was giving me the instructions, so I kind of played the instructions in my head, because obviously I know the practice really well. But I think this is probably something that I want to do later on in this process, that I want to record myself for these instructions that come with non-linear movement, which makes this practice so beautiful, are very, very minimal, but still the instructions are really helpful, and the words are chosen very consciously to work with the subconscious. So I do want to, rather than just playing these words in my head, I do want to have that little recording. So that's just kind of a note to self. And another note to self is really the big realization that this is probably not going to be easy. And if already on the first day I'm trying this, I can't stick to the half an hour in the morning because of the circumstances, of course, because I'm in early motherhood, and my child needed me this morning, so I was with her, but still want to make sure that I'm prioritizing my needs. So I delayed the practice. I'm doing it now, or I just did it. And I think that is also I guess in the future, this is what I'm going to do, is if it's not possible in the morning, when is the first opportunity in my morning that I can do this routine? So this was day 1. Another quick note I made to myself for this is actually day 2, but day 1 of the actual practice. So in the next day, so in day 3, for day 3 and the following days, I want to come up with more of a plan of what do I want to do, so that I don't arrive and spend like 5 minutes of my practice thinking about, or my ritual thinking about, what is it actually that I want to do. And so, yeah, that is going to be crucial for the next few days, and that's really what I want to do, so I don't spend time thinking about that in the actual ritual. And also something that's the last thing, I want to bookend my ritual. So I want to do something at the start and something at the end that signals the start and signals the end of it, to really turn it into a ritual. So thinking about maybe lighting a candle or something else. Let's see what other things I could perhaps come up with. But lighting a candle for now seems to be a very easy and accessible thing, although I probably should think about what to do when I don't have a candle close by. But yeah, I'll think about the bookends of my ritual. See you tomorrow. So I just finished day 4 of creating a morning ritual for myself as a mother of a toddler. Now, let me reflect on the last 2 days. So day 3 was yesterday, a day where I stayed home with my daughter. It's usually happens on a Wednesday. And so I knew I was only going to get some time first thing in the morning when my partner was still around. And it so happened yesterday that my daughter was very happy to stay with him, and I could do my little routine and my little ritual. I took 30 minutes and I had already prepared the day before what I was going to do, so it's very easy. When I turned up, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I started off with doing some journaling. Then I went into my movement practice, my non-linear movement practice, and I only did 1 song, which equates to moving what you're feeling. So one kind of exploration, looking at what was present, thoughts, feelings, sensations in the body. And then I went into doing a meditation for 10 minutes, and I finished off with some more journaling. That took me just maybe over 30 minutes, maybe 31, 32 minutes. And I realized again, I didn't bookend it, so I didn't have that sort of anchor point of how I started and ended. I also thought about maybe, because I wanted to make it as easy as possible, even when I don't have like access to a candle, because I think a candle is a very beautiful way to bookend it. So I thought maybe getting a hot drink, but by the time I got to do my ritual today, I completely forgot about that already, and I completely forgot about bookending it. So today was actually very distracting. I have to say last night was a very difficult night. I think I look very tired today. Yeah, yesterday was very difficult. My daughter got ill last night, or yesterday, and it was a tricky night for me and for her, of course. And so this morning we took it very slowly, and she went to her childminder very late. So I only got to do my ritual again at around 10:30. And it felt so distracted. I felt really not here. And I remembered halfway through, hey, I wanted to bookend it somehow. I wanted to open it and close it with a candle. So I got a candle halfway through, lit the candle. And then I also realized, how do I want to structure today? So I actually switched things around. It still did the same components, but switched them around. So I started off with some journaling. But because I noticed there's so much there, like my mind's really busy, I then went into meditation before I landed on the mat and finished with moving what you're feeling, so a non-linear section. And yeah, it didn't feel ideal. And again, I don't think it needs to feel ideal, but yeah, I noticed this morning how much can be present, and how difficult it actually can feel to, even if I have this time, to then commit to it and do a ritual that feels nourishing and that feels expansive. So yeah, let's see how this continues in day 5. So day 5, it's Friday. I'm actually filming this now in the afternoon. I didn't get a chance to do it after my ritual this morning, because I did manage to do it this morning at 7:15 to about 7:45. Yeah, I managed half an hour. 45 minutes just was not possible with like the other commitments we had this morning, but I did half an hour and it was fantastic. I got my candle, I got everything ready, had my journal ready, so it was really great to have everything ready and to really start this ritual. It was not as distracted as yesterday. It was actually really straightforward because I knew I only had that slot, and I could hear my daughter outside and my partner, and yeah, I started off with some journaling, which really helps to clear out or to address and notice any thoughts that are present from the night before, from the night, and even like in that moment. And then I continued with a meditation, again 10 minutes. And if you're wondering what I'm using or what kind of style of meditation I'm doing, so I'm doing mindfulness meditation, and I'm using this app that I've been using for 5 years now. It's called Waking Up. It's fantastic. I've been talking about it many times in different spaces, so I'm linking it below as well, so you can check it out. But I'm using that. I'm using the daily meditation on that, and you can change it to your needs. So 10 minutes is sort of my go-to. And then I finished off with pulling a card. I felt really drawn to this last night, and I thought, okay, why not? So I have a few set of cards, and one of them is like kind of a divine feminine selection of cards. And I picked, that's the card that I picked, and it is the abundance of the universe. Very beautiful, don't know if you can see that. Yeah, very beautiful drawing. So it's the abundance of the universe, and I read the text that went with it, and the way I understood it is that because abundance sometimes it's a bit of a funny, it can be, sometimes it can be misunderstood, or people use it in different ways as well, I think. So the way I understood it, and this really speaks to me, it's like that life will provide you with everything you need, and that's abundance. And that sometimes might not always be possible, but you can choose to see it in a positive. That cannot always just be positive, can sometimes be perceived as negative. But what this card says is that you can perceive it as, or you can interpret as positive, because it has a reason, or it has a reason for being there. And so life will always present you, will always serve you in abundant ways. Yeah, so really beautiful practice this morning, and I'm excited and slash nervous to see how things are going at the weekend, because the rhythm can sometimes be a bit different at the weekend. And I'll check back in on Monday how it all went. It's Monday today. That's day 8 of my little experiment, and I want to reflect on the weekend as well as Monday morning and show you or share with you how it all went, and what I've learned as well from these last few days. So the weekend, I went into the weekend with some anticipation and feeling a little bit nervous, excited as well, but nervous as well, because I knew that my rhythm was going to be different, or our rhythm as a family is going to be different, and I wondered if I can still include my ritual. And come Saturday morning, I had actually booked a call with a friend of mine, and he lives in Australia, so that was like first thing in the morning. We met at 8 o'clock, and I guess I didn't plan it properly enough. I got up about 7:30, I think, and I wanted to take a shower, so did that, got my breakfast ready, and jumped on the call with him. So there wasn't really any space to do that. I guess I could have squeezed in some 10 minutes, but it just didn't feel like didn't just feel right. Plus, I didn't really have those 10 minutes prepared in my head. As I said, I want to do 30 minutes. So I thought, okay, I'll do it later in the day. I knew we had a family activity planned after, so I thought, okay, I'll do it when my daughter naps. So we did a family activity, which was really beautiful, but it was super engaging and super, there was so many things going on, that we only left the place around 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30 even. And so my daughter slept in the car, and when we got back, the transfer from the car to the bed just didn't work. So she was up, and I didn't get the time. I didn't get another 30 minutes. And so she clearly, since she only had about 45 minutes, half an hour of sleep, she felt quite dysregulated, and just didn't feel resourced as she would normally do after her afternoon nap. And I didn't have my time, so I didn't feel super open and so super resourced. And so the afternoon was a bit of a struggle, and I reflected on that day, and I thought, wow, I could really do with a shorter practice, or a shorter ritual, what do I do when I really just have 10 minutes and 15 minutes? And I think in the past, that's always been my little hurdle, that I said to myself, I really need a longer time. And so I didn't even consider 10 minutes is enough or 15 minutes is enough. And so, I come to the conclusion this weekend, I do need that for times when I just don't have half an hour. So that was my sort of reflection point on Saturday. Luckily, going into Sunday, I felt already way more resource going into Sunday, because I had a long sleep. Oh, I had to start again. I had a bit of a coughing attack right here. So Sunday I felt a lot more resource going into the day, because we had a long sleep. My daughter only decided to wake up at 8:30, so we slept until 8:30, which was really great. But that also meant that I had just a bit of time to get ready, because what we typically do on one of the weekend days, we split it into half. Like I get the morning or the afternoon, and my partner gets the afternoon or the morning, depending on who gets what. So I got the morning because he had something in the afternoon. And so I just got ready really quickly, and then sort of took my time. And rather than starting my time with this ritual, I went straight into work, because I knew I didn't have much time, and I had already set this time aside for work, because there was just some stuff from last week, and I just wanted to be prepared for this week, because I know this week might be quite an intense one, because of my partner's work schedule. So that was a mistake. That was a mistake not to start that time with a ritual, and I decided to do it at the end. And so I sat down, lit my candle, and had just started the meditation. And maybe 2 minutes in, my door opened, and it was my daughter and my partner. They came back from I think they went on a walk, and they came back, and she wanted just to be with me. She was distressed, not wanting, like when we said, I'm having my time now, she didn't want that. She didn't see me all morning. And so it was really hard. Like at that point, I had already greeted her, and I didn't want to put her through that stress. And I should have just locked my door, or done it at the start of my time. So I took that on me and reflected again on that later on. And so it didn't happen again on Sunday. I didn't have my ritual. So 2 days without a ritual. Come Monday, we're back into our routine. And I think my daughter gets it now, that first thing in the morning, there is, her mom will have some time to herself. And so this morning it was really sweet. She closed the door and said kind of goodbye, and said, I'll see you after breakfast. That was really sweet. So she really respected that. And I actually locked the door as well, because I just didn't want her to come in and then be distressed because I can't be with her. So I locked the door, and she really understood, okay, this is Mama's time, and her dad is with her. So they were really happy to just have breakfast together. So that was great. And this morning, I started off with meditation. Then I went into doing a short movement section. So I did moving what you're feeling, a non-linear. And then finally, I read a book. So I read a few pages of a book. And interestingly, so that felt really nourishing. And I love reading, and I don't get enough time for it. But it felt like I wanted more. And yes, it felt nourishing, but it didn't really feel nourishing as part of this ritual. Or I just didn't feel it fitted into it. Because reading resources me in a different way. And also it's quite intellectually stimulating, I think, especially the stuff I sort of read. So I didn't read a novel or something. I read something about the heroine's journey, actually. It's a very beautiful book. So that was wonderful, but it just didn't fit into my ritual. And then half an hour later, I came back, and I felt super resourced. I felt super ready for the day, and very happy to reunite again with my partner and my daughter. And that was Monday. That was the start of the week. And it was also a great introduction into this week, because it might be the only time that I get early in the morning to do my ritual, because this week is going to be an intense one for my partner, and he probably has to leave the house very early, which means that will delay my practice into like my work time. And let's see how that goes. But this was week 1, and I'm excited for week 2.